Hey everyone, Misery here. We are talking for the second day in a row, maybe third, about the Ogryn rework, and I'm still working on the, talking about the weapon changes that are coming to him and other classes. So look for that. But in the meantime, I saw a little bit of juicy clickbait on my feed and thought, damn, I just have to react to this. Darktide, the Ogryn rework is bad, or at least doesn't do enough, and I can prove it by, you guessed it, Mr. Tanner Lindberg. Talk about a usual suspect. From time to time, this guy here gets on my fucking internet and posts his shitty takes, and I have to come in here and slap him down and tell him, no, go back to VR chat, okay? Darktide is my terrain now. And so here we are today to do exactly that. We need to react to this video, or at least parts of it, because it's like an hour long, and what sort of loser would post an hour-long video about the Ogryn rework? That's nerd stuff. So I'm just going to kind of summarize his points and give you my response to it. And generally, if you want to know how I feel about this video, well, here it is. I agree. He does have some very solid points here, and this is not something that, he didn't like change my mind or anything. If you noticed in my video from yesterday or whenever the day before, whenever I'm publishing this, the last video, right, where I showed all the talents of the Ogryn, I did not tell you most of the time how I feel about this rework. I didn't say, oh my god, this rework is going to save the Ogryn. It's going to make him the best class in the game. If you see my thumbnail for this video, you understand that I definitely don't think that is the case, right? I don't think he's even going to be remotely close to third place. And there's good reason, I think, for that, but this update is not doing a whole lot to bridge that gulf. There is some stuff that Fat Shark could do. There are some things that they did in this update that I think are going to be very nice for the Ogryn. And I absolutely applaud the effort. I applaud especially the amount of build diversity this is going to bring to the Ogryn, because that's going to be cool and fun and enjoyable. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, right? But when you talk about higher level play, when you talk about especially this game mode Havoc that they've created and want people to play and play competitively, the ultimate question comes down to, I have 4 players on my team. Every one of them needs to bring something that's valuable for the team. What can the Ogryn bring that is valuable for the team? And they have given him nothing with this update that I can truly say is the thing that will be valuable for the team, right? They've tried to make him have some buffs to some of his abilities. Right now, taunting gives you some toughness back. Charging, you can't get trapped and shot while you're charging, and his grenades now burn. He gets some more buffs to his grenades and stuff like that. But overall, nothing here is that alluring to be like, should I bring an Ogryn or just a second Psyker? And every time you're going to say, yeah, just bring the second Psyker with the Void Strike or the Void Blast staff. Easy decision in your life, right? That is the gulf that the Ogryn needs to overcome, because fundamentally the gap between him and the other characters is massive. And this is something that Tanner says in the first couple minutes of his video, which I thought was so funny. From time to time, this guy is kind of funny, which is that the Ogryn's a regular dude on a team full of superheroes. If you think about these other characters, they are walking gods. They are war crime tier of destruction. I mean, you've got the veteran who can throw like 60 grenades per game. He has the fucking plasma rifle. He has voice of command. He has shredder grenades. He has dueling sword. You've got the Psyker who just has flame staff and venting shriek. And so he's just wall banging like entire hordes with venting shriek, and nothing can do anything against him, or smite where he's locked down the entire fucking map. Then you got Zealot, who literally can't, this guy can't fucking die. Like, you cannot die as Zealot. I mean, I've proved it a couple times that it's wrong on stream, but like, you've got 3 ultimates and all of them are just like, nah, I have full toughness again. You just press the button, you have full toughness. Meanwhile, while the enemy's trying to kill you, you are sliding all over the map like it's initial D, and nothing can hit you at all because you have a 0x damage multiplier while you're sliding as Zealot, which is insane. And you're the fastest class in the game, so you're just like, skirt, stab, dash away, invis, chorus, whatever you need to do. These classes are fundamentally so strong and so broken that in order to put Ogryn on par with these classes, you would have to make him broken. And this is something that I encourage my viewers to to engage in when I was making a video about voice of command a little while ago. And that video, I sort of encouraged my viewers to think about how powerful you'd have to make the other two ultimates. What is it called? Infiltrate and Executioner's Stance. How powerful would you have to make those abilities in order to have them compete with voice of command? You would have to make Infiltrate last for like 25 seconds, and you can attack during it, and it gives you double damage. And then for Executioner's Stance, you'd have to have wall hacks and wall bangs and infinite ammo and no recoil, and enemies can't approach you in melee while you're using it. Like, that's the sort of power level we're talking about in order to compete with the best ultimate in the game. Now think about what you'd have to do to a class as a whole in order to bring it into parity with these other 3 god tier classes, because they really are just that, gods, right? Like, these classes are untouchable. They do untold destruction to the map, and there's, an Ogryn can do fine, right? That's not what I'm saying. You might be typing in the comments, mystery. Oh fuck! What am I doing?
Why is this on 6?
Oh yeah, let's see.
Melee attack.
You might be typing in the comments right now, mystery. Like, I dropped like 1.5 million with my Ogryn the other day, and I only took this much damage. Like, that's fine. It's okay. But here's the thing: you were not playing with teammates that had the same level of skill that you do. When you start playing in high havocs and you have teammates that know what they're doing, as veteran, as psyker, as zealot, you are going to see that power disparity. You are going to see those teammates flexing the mechanical abilities of the other classes and just destroying every enemy before you can get to it. A thing I like to say about Ogryn is that there's one of two things that happen with Ogryn when you're trying to engage enemies. Either they kill you before you get to the enemies, or your team kills all the enemies before you get to the enemies. It's like one or the other, right? The enemies will shoot the shit out of you, at least in the modern version of Ogryn, or your team is just going to deal with it all for you because they have these like super powered capabilities, and there's no way for you to deal with that. And that is fundamentally something that I think that Fat Shark could have done. They could have endeavored to make Ogryn shine in certain regards. Instead of having his new dodge ability just be on dodge, it should just be he always counts as sprinting. He is always sprinting. How much he moves at sprint speed all the time. It takes no stamina to sprint, and when you sprint into enemies, they get knocked down. Like, that way he always be first into the combat. And that is something that, like, this is supposed to be the Vanguard class, right? He's a disruptor. He's supposed to get in there. He's not supposed to do the most damage necessarily, but he's supposed to get in there and start bowling over enemies and swinging his arms around and making their lives a living hell, making their idea of formulating a defensive position against your assault that much harder. That's the idea behind, at least the fundamentals of Ogryn. But if you were to have like a foot race and see which class could get in there and start meleeing first, I think he might come in third behind Veteran and definitely Zealot, who can just like teleport into there. That's sort of the fundamental thing he needs, is like to be able to get in there and engage. And yes, you've got charge, but remember, Ogryn charge is a 1 charge thing, and it has a 30-second cooldown. And we just got a kind of a nerf to Bruiser for upper level play. So you'll charge in, and then you'll suddenly realize, wait a second, I'm not Zealot. Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die. Because Zealot has the advantage of being Zealot, where he can literally just start skirt sliding around everywhere and evading every single attack in the world, and he has a second charge, so he can get out of dodge real fast. Ogryn is going to get in there, and then there's kind of a toss-up of whether or not the enemies are going to go on him and destroy him the second that charge finishes. Because if you miss your charge and you miss like a trapper on the side or something, they can get you the second that it ends. You don't have that burst like that. They talk about in sports. I don't watch a lot of sports, but they talk about in sports like explosiveness, the ability for people to like just get off the ground and go like sprinting. Ogryn does not have that. He is slow to start, and that is what like gets him all stuck up. Okay, so now we're to the point of the video where you want me to hurry up and tell you what my opinion is, what Fat Shark should do, so that you can formulate your opinion off of that, and then go and talk about it, circle jerk it on Reddit. So here's my opinion. They need to make this class overpowered. That is the way to bring these classes into parity. Because what happened was, and I admire the effort, when they sat down to design this class, they said, we want to make a balanced and nuanced new take on Ogryn that has interesting choices to make between abilities. and different play styles with just different allotment of points. And you know, if you keep attacking like this much, you'll get this, and if you get this many kills, you get this. And hey, if that was your goal, mission accomplished. This class is balanced, and it's good, and it has lots of interesting decisions to make, and I'm genuinely interested in making builds with it. However, what you forgot is the other classes aren't balanced. The other classes are fucking bonkers broken, and then you've got this guy who is just balanced. I like to think of the other classes as like the dueling sword, where there's just no way that should be like acceptable within a power level, but they're not going to nerf it, because like people would literally quit the game forever if they nerfed like veteran or something like that. So they can't nerf it. So in order to, you know, just kind of move on past that, the next weapon they're going to make is going to be good, but it's not going to be anywhere near the dueling sword. So we got the relic blade, right? A really good weapon, but it's no dueling sword, right? So that's what the Ogryn here is. The Ogryn is the relic blade of classes. This is so like, it has like complexity to it, and different abilities, and it makes you think about, would this be good? And like, well, this might be interesting to play with in this style. But compare that to the other classes, which all have like something or other that's just broken and good. And like, it's like for the Psyker, it's just venting shriek and kind of bubble, and specifically the flame staff, and just destroying everything that, you know, in a multiplicative way from across the fucking map. For veteran, it's shout and the plasma gun and shredder grenades, yeah, and just pooping out grenades. I mean, veteran is so good. Like, veteran grenades and shout are so good. You have builds that are literally just those two things that clear Havoc 40s and do millions of damage. And then for Zealot, it's the fact that this guy is immortal, and he's got his obscene melee damage, and he's got 3 super solid melee ultimates. He's got one of the best blitzes in the game, and he's got like the flamer. Like, all these classes have awesome individual things they bring to the table. The Ogryn has mid abilities, he's got bad auras generally, and he's got mid keystones. And he doesn't really have any of his blue nodes that you're like, damn, like that is a good blue node. Like, think about Veteran, who has Iron Will. That is a good blue node. Like, you know, Demolition Stockpile. Fuck, damn, that's a blue node right there. Going over to the Psyker, you've got like, fuck, what's a good one on Psyker? Oh, duh, Psychonetics Aura, right? That's a good blue node. Metal, fuck me, like that. If you saw this sort of shit on the Ogryn, you would be like excited. But what we got was Frenzy Blows, and so Frenzy Blows, it is a good node, but it's 2% melee attack speed on change every 5 seconds, stacked 5 times. What is that? That's 10% attack speed, right? And it lasts for 5 seconds. If I go back to the Psyker, this is 10% attack speed right there. If I go to the Veteran, that's 10% attack speed right there. We have the same fucking node on these other two classes, but they just get the buff. The Ogryn has to work for it. What is it? This is just racism. This is just straight. It's because there's no more DEI allowed, right? So now we can't help the Ogryn out at all. So yeah, he's got to work for his fucking buffs. He has to hit enemies 5 times to get a 10% attack speed buff. Why are we adding these qualifiers to get buffs when this class is so far behind the other classes that it's almost comical? I mean, like, look. You could go hog wild with buffing this class, and it would still not bridge the gulf between him and 3rd place, right? You could take this ultimate Loyal Protector and make it so that when enemies are taunted, they get disoriented and they wander into, or they shoot their allies instead, right? Like, it's deafening and it makes them lose track of their targets, and they turn allegiances for 15 seconds or something. You could make it do that, and it would still be worse than voice of command, but at least you'd want to maybe like, you know, bringing an Ogryn isn't bad. If we could get the Crushers to like go and crush their enemies, that would be pretty nuts. If Indomitable here, instead of being a straight line bull rush, if it just had a meter, a percentage meter, and you filled up over 30 seconds, and that was just your charge juice, And when you start charging, your meter goes down and you can charge as much or as little as you want, and you have full turn control during it. So you can go forward and run over that line of enemies, and then you can turn around, do a hairpin turn, and come back and run their asses over again. Like, that sort of shit would be powerful. It would be like super cool to play with, and people would be excited to play with it, and you would still not be in danger of pushing this class to be the best class in the game. Like, you could do so much. Like, Fat Shark, don't worry, guys. Like, you could break this class wide open. You could take this buff down here, which is one that I think back on fondly from a while ago, when you added it to the class, and you're like, hey, we have no idea what this is going to do to the balance of the game, but hey, let's fucking go for it. The pushes now do 250% stagger. Only once every 8 seconds, though. And people actually, this is actually kind of a good node, right? Like, people use it to like knock down rages and knock open Ogryn blocks. But you need this sort of power ×2 and across the whole fucking tree. And you are still nowhere near making this class better than all the other classes. Don't worry, Fat Shark. You are not going to make this class. There's no way you're going to be able to make this class good enough that everyone's like, oh, I only want to play Ogryn now. Ogryn's the only good class in the game anymore. That's not happening. So go hog wild. Go fucking nuts and make this thing stupid. Make it stupid, make it fun, make it destructive, make it big and bold and brash and beautiful. Maybelline. Okay, that's it for me. Mystery out of here. Fuck off, Tanner. Love you. Bye.